Hey everybody, Mike, Mountain Weekly News. So I'm out here elk hunting today on the National Elk Refuge, and I wanted to do a video on what I carry in my backpack for an elk hunt, and kind of specifically for a late season elk hunt. This morning was about 20 degrees when I went out. As you can see, there's really no snow, so really need some snow to push the elk around. But this morning I got out, it was about 19 degrees. So I'm going to kind of show you basically the gear that I carry in my backpack. And then I might go over some of the gear that I'm wearing and the gear that I use as well. So let's go ahead and take this off. As far as my backpack, I've really been liking the Mystery Ranch stuff. They seem to have a line, you know, they're known for their camping stuff. But this is the Metcalf backpack, really dig it. One thing that you'll notice is I've got this little Thermarest seat pad. I really like this for sitting down. You know, your butt gets warm, and if you're sitting on cold anything, that cold really comes up and gives you a really chill. So highly recommend one of these Thermarest pads. I mean, it's super light, doesn't really take up any weight at all. Let's go ahead and start at the top of the pack. So this pack's got a couple little pockets up top, which I really like. Typically that's where I'm going to store the stuff that I'm going to need to get to throughout the day. That way I'm not having to dig all the way through my pack. Starting at the top, I've got some sunglasses. I always like to have them in a sunglass case as well. Really, these are only needed for that second half of your hunt as you're kind of hiking out at the midday. I got an Ensure, a little bit of extra protein. You never know when, you know, if you do get an elk down, I mean, it becomes a really big day, so a little extra something. Sunscreen, always really important, especially for me as a ginger. Today it's going to get really sunny, so I'll definitely need to use this here soon. I got some snacks. I feel nuts are really good. A lot of protein, real easy to carry, and it's got that salt because sometimes you really need that salt. I got some candy in here. Then I got a little pack, Ziploc bag. This has all of my hunting information, all of my licenses, all of my permits, and then I also have a pen in there because when you do harvest an elk, you need to sign your slip that's saying, you know, the date that you did that. So I keep that at the top because I'm always hopeful that I'm going to have an elk. Also have headlamp. Typically I have 2 headlamps. This morning I got a late start, so I knew I was only going to need a headlamp for about 30 minutes. You know, 1 headlamp's good, but 2 is better, and 2 is 1 when it comes to headlamps. So typically I never go out with 1 because if your headlamp goes to shit, you are SOL. So that's going to be my top pocket. Oh, look at that. I also have an LMNT. This stuff's really good. I got it from Meteorite PR. Basically, it's electrolyte salts, and kind of, again, same thing. When you're hitting the fan, you can throw some of this in your CamelBak, your water bottle, or even throw it in the Ensure, and it's going to give you those electrolytes that are much needed. Hopefully we'll get to the hunt stuff here pretty soon. What else do I have? Toilet paper. Definitely bring toilet paper, and bring a lot. Every once in a while you have a blowout in the mountains. It sucks, but that does happen while hunting. I've got my Garmin. If I do get something down today, I am out of cell phone range, so I will basically have to text people through the Garmin, give them my location, and hopefully I can get somebody to come out. But the Garmin, you do have to have a subscription with it. It's a little bit heavier. This one I believe this is the InReach model. And yeah, no, really good. You know, you do have a subscription. I think it's about $20 a month, so it's not too bad. Then I've got some hearing protection. These are actually help amplify the sounds of animals walking around. This is from Tetra. Really dig this stuff. I did a full review on it last year, and basically I can put them in, I can turn them on, and it's almost like hearing aids. So if there is an animal close to me and they're walking around, I'll be able to pick up that sound amplified. I definitely dig these. A little expensive. I think they push around $1,000. I have an extra cartridge full of bullets. Here on the Elk Refuge, you're allowed to have 7 cartridges total. So I've already got 3 right now in my rifle. And then for some reason, I mean, ideally it's only going to take 1 shot to shoot an elk and kill it. but you never know what's going to happen. So definitely have an extra backup just in case. Highly recommend you do this, or just bring extra bullets and cartridges and store them on your body. Okay, now let's get to more of the fun stuff. Sun's coming out. I need some sunscreen here. So first thing I'm going to pull out is a little first aid kit. This is Adventure Medical. What I really like about this one, it is very, very light. I've added a few things that I like in the kit, but definitely if you're going to go out here and you're playing with knives and you're in the backcountry, make sure you have this. The one thing I don't have today is my tourniquet. I believe that's in my snowboard pack, so I'll need to get that out and put that back in this pack, just because, again, if you do cut an artery or something, you're going to want to stop that bleeding. Also, there's some stop clot stuff in here that basically you put on a cut and it really stops that bleeding. Next thing I have is more nuts. Obviously that is kind of redundant, so maybe I don't need 2 things of nuts. So I'll probably get rid of one of these. Alright, up next, Paracord. If I do get something down today, I am by myself, and obviously I'm under this big tree right now. But if I get something down today, I'm going to need to quarter the elk up, put it in the game bags, and then hang this up in a tree. Typically you're going to need to hang it about 10 to 15 feet. You need to hang it where bears or other critters can't get to it, and it's just good practice not leaving your elk quarters on the ground. My CamelBak, I've got my CamelBak bladder. This is the CamelBak line of military stuff. I don't know if they actually sell it to the public, but you can look into that. It's all American made, and it's actually got that, what is that, like a kind of a protection on the part that comes out to your mouth that basically helps the thing from not freezing. Again, as I said, it was 19 degrees when I went out this morning. It's going to heat up to about 40 today, so I'm not too concerned, but these are really nice from CamelBak. Okay, now we're looking at my kill kit. You might laugh that it's in a Union snowboard bag, but this is where I carry my knives. If you notice, most of my stuff does have little kits to it. You know, you kind of want stuff bagged up. You want it to be easy, and you know, if it was snowing right now, I definitely probably wouldn't dump all my shit onto the ground like this, because it's just a great way to lose it. Starting with knives. Oh, I love this one from Benchmark. I just got it, new blade, just really, really nice, super sharp. The Benchmark stuff, definitely some of my favorite. I've been hunting with it for a while, and what I like is it's got that orange as well as the orange here, so you know, sometimes you do need to put the knife down, and if you're looking for it, it can be hard to see, but with that safety orange, definitely makes it a little easier. So this is one knife I bring. I probably wouldn't do the skinning with this one particularly, but once I kind of already got that cut, this is going to be really nice inside the elk. The other knife I bring is New Knife Works. This is, I believe, called the Teton, and so, I mean, this is just absolutely stunning. Again, you can see they use that safety orange. This is a local Jackson, Wyoming company, and I mean, I just love the way this knife feels in my hand. This is usually one of the knives that I'll kind of do some of that skinning. Absolutely razor, razor, razor sharp. All these knives are going to be that way, so you definitely don't want to cut yourself. I mean, they're to the point where if you basically touch yourself with the knife, you are going to have a pretty good cut. I mean, this is surgical steel. And speaking of surgical steel, this one from Gerber. Oh man, this stuff, forget what it's called particularly, but I saw Randy Newberg and that whole crew, they use it. Basically, it's got blades that, where are they? Blades that come in, they're disposable blades, and so this one I really like for those real fine cuts, and as you can see, it's really small, so if I had to gut the elk, or if I was really in there, sometimes I don't want that huge knife, I just want something that's a little more mobile. These knives, or these blades, are so fucking sharp. I mean, this is the real surgical steel. So with this stuff, you know, you use it, and then when it starts to get dull, I mean, a dull knife is how you get hurt. So, you know, typically I might go through a half an elk, maybe a full elk with one of these, but I've got a pack, so it's real easy just to throw them in. And what else do I have? Oh, check that out. Got one more new one. This is the Alpha knife from Tetra Knives. I really like this. Tetra is more of that kind of military grade line of knives. They've got that special ops background, but gosh, I love the way this knife feels in hand. It's got this incredible blade on it. Real lightweight. I think this goes for about 150 bucks. So real nice deal. And what I really like is they've got these notches in the handle. So again, like I could have bloody hands, I could have snowy hands. This is really nice. This is probably an everyday carry knife as well. I probably wouldn't just use it for hunting, but definitely Tetra. This is the first time I've worked with the brand. Oh man, my fingers are cold. Okay, there we go. I was able to get it in. Great knife. Definitely a nice backup to have as well. What else do I have? Oh, I've got my game bags. These are from Caribou game bags. These are these are the Wapiti bags, so they are able to quarter an elk out. I'd say this is probably one of the heaviest things in my kit. So I came out here with my knives and my game bag and my entire kill kit. I'm planning to get an elk. A lot of people leave this shit in their car, and I mean, what are you gonna like just hike back out for if you get something? So that's pretty silly. Again, the weight on this one is kind of heavy, but this does have 4 game bags in it. And one of the cool things about Caribou bags, I haven't actually done this before with them, is they're recyclable. So, you know, typically I take my quartered elk and I drop it off at the butcher. And they're always asking if I want the bloody bags back. And I'm like, no, what am I going to do with those? But now I know that you can actually clean these out and reuse them, which is really cool. So Caribou game bags, definitely check these guys out. I mean, they're kind of the go-to. What else? Extra pair of socks. Oh my God, the last time I was out hunting, I think I did a video about that. I didn't have my gaiters on, and it was snowing and raining, and my feet got so fucking cold. These are socks from Zamberlan, some hiking socks. I believe it's a combination of merino and some other stuff, but honestly, midday, if you bring an extra pair of socks and you put these on, I mean, you can hunt much longer. Typically, when you're wanting to call it, it's because your feet are cold or your feet are wet. And I actually recommend doing this when you're out snowboarding as well, or in the backcountry if you're a split boarder, or really just a hiker, anybody. I mean, an extra pair of socks is going to go a long way, and an extra pair of socks from the shit's hitting the fan, it's worth its weight in gold. And honestly, they weigh nothing. Okay, what else do I have? I've got an extra set of gloves. These are some Helly Hansen leather gloves. I wish I had known I had these this morning, because I actually wore my thin gloves, and at 19 degrees my fingers are about to warm up, and it is, oh, I don't know, 2-3 hours into the hunt. And that's really all inside my pack. I did bring some snacks today, you know, a little mandarin, a little sandwich. Typically, my pack, when it's fully loaded, weighs about 35 pounds. So that's without an elk. If I do get an elk quarter, you're looking at another 75 to 80 pounds. So at times, I'm probably going to be going out with about 120 pounds. This bag is from Mystery Ranch. Again, it's the Metcalf. I really dig it. It's got the ability to hold a ton of stuff. They've got it in 3 sizes. I believe I have the 50 liter right now, and it goes all the way up to 75 liter if you're carrying more stuff. And it's got the ability to put the quarter in the back. It kind of has got an extension. Really cool. I'll talk about some of my other gear as well. I might as well, since I'm out here doing it. This is the Forloh bino harness. Forloh is a company making all their gear in the United States. Really nice hunting stuff. I've been using their outerwear the last couple years. I'm actually using their outerwear today in the pants. And what I like about these is I'm on my knees right now, and they've got knee pads that are built into the pants that really aren't too bulky. So I'm able to hike around without noticing them. But when I do need to get to my knees, it's pretty cool. Inside I've got my binos. I've got Bushnell binos. A lot of times you see people with them hooked to their bino harness, but I find it easier just to grab them, and you know, depending, sometimes I need them farther or whatever that is. These are the 10 by 42. I'll probably upgrade my binoculars this year. And then probably my new favorite piece of hunting gear, and my favorite hunting brand at the moment, is Maven. Maven Optics is based in Lander, Wyoming. They're making incredible stuff. It's direct to customer, so the cost is a little bit lower, but the cost is pretty high because the optics and the glass are just stunning. This rangefinder goes out to about 1,200 yards. So if there was something way the fuck out there, let's see if I can pick something up. 800 yards, 300 yards. Yeah, so this is really good. Highly recommend the Maven stuff. I did a review on this. We also tested their spotting scope last year, and I'll be hitting them up for some more glass, hopefully some binos here pretty soon. Bear spray, always have your bear spray. I don't keep it in my backpack. I don't even like to have it here. I've had a couple times where you can accidentally hit it, or it can kind of fall out, or your rifle butt hits it. So I like it to be right here. I'm not concerned about bears today. One of the rules for hunting on the National Elk Refuge is you actually have to have 2 pieces of orange shown, and typically for hunting it's 1, and you do have to carry bear spray as well. So with this hunt, there are some quite a few rules that you have to follow. As far as my top today, oh man, I'm testing this company called Kryptek, and if you notice this, look at that stretch in the arms. I mean, that's incredible. I wouldn't have guessed that by looking at this jacket, but Kryptek, it's probably been about 4 or 5 years since I've used their stuff. Another US-based company, special ops background, and they're actually the only company that's worked with the United States military to get this camo pattern down. So I think the military certified this as like what they want to use, and some of the special forces ops around the country are using this gear from Kryptek. So highly recommend checking out Kryptek. What else do I have? I'm wearing this Sitka orange. This is a vest that Sitka has. This one's actually designed for those guys that are shotgun hunting as well, especially the right-handed shotgun hunter. It's got a little extra padding here, so if you are shooting with the shotgun, it's nice. With the rifle, it's not typically a big issue because, you know, again, if you're doing it right, you're shooting the elk and it's one shot. Oh, as far as my gun, this is my Remington 270. Oh man, I absolutely love this gun. This was the gun everybody hunted with in the early 1900s, and just absolutely stunning. I've got a Vortex scope on the top. This is a Crossfire II, and both of them have been good to me. I just realized today I've harvested 6 elk with this gun, quite a few deer as well, and it's lighter weight. I do quite a lot of hiking when I hunt. I'm not really the guy that likes to sit somewhere. I like to put boots on the ground and go find the elk, and I don't typically let them just come to me. I've never had success with that, so I kind of opted for a lighter gun. The 270 definitely doesn't have as much power or kick as some of the other guns, but again, this is the gun that everybody used to shoot, you know, thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of elk back in the early 1900s when elk hunting was really a big thing. As far as the rounds that I'm using, I really like, oh gosh, what am I using? I'm using Nosler. This is the Nosler Trophy Grade stuff, and I opted for the 150 grain just to have a little bit more, you know, wump. At first I was hunting with the 130 grade because, you know, guns do have recoil. And when I would go out to the shooting range and put a bunch of bullets down range, you know, you'd come home and your shoulder was fucking hurting. So again, when you're elk hunting, typically it's only one shot, and at this point I really don't mind going up to the 150. It also gives me that confidence that, you know, if I do get that kill shot, it's just going to be a little quicker on the elk. I got that. What else? That's about it. Actually, I take that back. I don't know if you can see. Underneath I have a mid layer from Outdoor Research. I really love this thing. I mean, I wear it all the time. I probably wear it, oh God, I don't know, 5 months of the year. And then under that, if you can see this, I'm wearing this base layer from Cool, and it's kind of a new wool. I'm pretty sure it's merino. I think it's all merino. But gosh, this feels so good next to skin. And then for my base layer bottoms, I've got the Forloh stuff on again. Different material in the Forloh, so this is kind of more of that poly, but real nice and breathable. So again, I think that's kind of the end of it. Last but not least, I've got a hat. This is from the Wyoming Hunger Institute, or Hunger Initiative. I think it says it on there. You know, again, you've got to have a couple different pieces of orange, and that's about it. Typically, when I'm elk hunting, I wouldn't be out here talking at this volume, but you know, I've looked around, and You know, if the elk were here, they would have been moving already this morning, and you know, it's just really nice. Really nice to come out and go for a walk. I saw this fox that was absolutely stunning. It had a brown face, a gray body, and a black tail. And he saw me and he kind of ran off, and then he stopped. And foxes are good like that. They ran off and he stopped and he quartered, and he just looked at me, and we just sat there and looked at each other, and it was really cool. I tried to get some video, but once I got the video, he had gone up the hillside. So, you know, honestly, that's one of my favorite things about hunting these days, is just getting out there. Again, this is all my gear. I'll put links to this stuff at the bottom. Oh, one last thing. Yeah, these are the gloves I used this morning, some Sitka stuff. Sitka sent me a bunch of gloves and a bunch of gear to test. You know, I love working with all these brands. You know, Sitka, Kryptek, Forloh, I mean, anything these brands make, I can stand behind. I mean, I'll just tell you that right now. Sometimes you'll notice with the hunting gear, though, is the sizes are a little different. You know, I'm a tall and skinny guy, and I don't think the average hunter is the tall and skinny guy. So sometimes I notice the sizes are a little off. So I'll also talk about that and do a separate story on kind of sizing for hunting apparel and how that might differ from the sizing for your, you know, ski gear. Right on, everybody. I appreciate you following along. Again, this is Mike with the Mountain Weekly News. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button, or however you do that here on YouTube. And yeah, I appreciate the support. Happy hunting, everybody. And I think I will get an elk down this year, and it's just a matter of time. I mean, if you're not out here, you're not going to hunt. You're not going to be able to get an elk. So thanks again. Bye.